Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage GenesisWorks alumnus and board member, Natalie Yang.
Welcome to the 4th annual GenesisWorks CIO Luncheon. My name is Natalie Yang, and I am a GenesisWorks Class 6 alumni. I am currently attending Metropolitan State University, and I'm working with St. Paul Public Schools After School Childcare Discovery Club. On top of that, I am also one of the newest members on the board of directors, attesting to GenesisWorks' mission that they truly change the lives of GenesisWorks students. My success, as well as so many other GenesisWorks students, would not have been possible if it were not for the CIOs and other executives in this room today who were able to provide internships at their companies. So thank you. I would also like to thank the IT vendors in the room who are supporting GenesisWorks through sponsorships, as well as creating a robust technology sector in the Twin Cities. The funds raised today through today's CIO's Luncheon will help grow GenesisWorks so we can get more students into skills training and internships, as well as on their way to college and a professional career for success. This past August, we had 259 young professionals start their internships this past fall. From my own experience, I can tell you that this is an extremely exciting and slightly nervous time for the students. However, I know that I had a great time with GenesisWorks and learned a lot with them. And I want more students to also be able to have that opportunity as well. So thank you all for joining us today to help make us that a reality. With that said, I'd like to welcome the Executive Director of GenesisWorks Twin Cities, Karen Marvin.
Thank you so much, Natalie, for that wonderful introduction. And go ahead and start with your salads and lunch. Natalie, you're awesome, and I'm not just saying that because of you now being a board member and actually kind of being my boss. Good afternoon, all of you fans of GenesisWorks. My name is Karen Marvin. I'm the Executive Director here at GenesisWorks Twin Cities, and it's a real honor to be in front of you today here at our 4th annual CIO Luncheon. This event actually started as a unique opportunity for technology vendors and our corporate partner teams to come together to celebrate the collective impact of an organization that truly changes lives. Your support of GenesisWorks goes directly towards building a brighter future for our students, like Natalie, as well as a stronger future workforce for the companies all around the Twin Cities. We had 37 organizations purchase tables for today's luncheon and a good number of additional single-ticket purchasers. Your support is so valued, and I'm excited to have you all here today. This unique event is indeed unique because of the corporate partners that come together, some of the companies that are hosting our current interns in year-long professional internships, as well as Natalie said, the technology vendors who believe so deeply in our mission that they want to show us and our corporate partners their support. To all of the technology vendor companies here today, IT consulting companies, hardware and software companies, resellers, integrators, IT staffing firms, please know that your support of GenesisWorks matters to our CIOs and our IT leaders all around the room. They notice. They talk about who's here, and it matters. Before we move on to hear from a couple of other people, I want to give you just a quick overview of parts of the GenesisWorks program that a lot of you maybe don't get to see firsthand. Before our young professionals are placed into their internships, in fact, we plan on placing 280 students in internships starting this August. But before that, they actually go through an intensive 8-week summer training. We go in-depth into professional development and communication skills training, an overview of technology. And for many of our students, in order to get them to and from their internship, we provide our young professionals subsidized transportation options to get them to and from their place of work. In fact, the funds that we raise here today are used to help cover those costs of transportation, which last year surpassed $160,000 to get our students to and from their jobs. I'm not going to go all political on you, but we need some better public transportation options. Additionally, throughout their senior year of high school, we meet regularly with our students to be sure they're staying on track with applying to colleges, with scholarship applications, and figuring out the very gnarly financial aid processes. After students graduate high school, they enter our College Success Program. And that really provides a seamless pipeline of support as students learn to navigate life in college and prepare for their careers. The colorful cards that are on display on your table showcase some of the incredible young professionals that are finishing up their internships this spring and preparing to start college this fall. As a social enterprise, we have a strong earned income model through the internships. But that only covers about 80% of the cost to operate and provide the additional required services for our students. The remaining 20% actually comes from generous donors and fundraising events such as this, the CIO Luncheon. A recent study by Columbia University calculated that GenesisWorks generates a full 13x social return on investment. Now that is impactful and should get the attention of anyone serious about making sure that their financial support is put to work with proven results. To our IT executives and leaders at all of the corporate partners who are here today, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. So the other GenesisWorks sites around the country are really envious of what we have built here in the Twin Cities. They refer to our supportive corporate partners as the Cool Kids Club. And they want to know how to create and build their own Cool Kids Club in their cities where they have GenesisWorks. Well, I tell them, since we're the only site, or the only Twin City, or the only GenesisWorks site that has a CIO luncheon, I tell them, that's a clue. By the way, this event comes together with the help of a good number of the GenesisWorks staff members, some of whom are here today, kind of working behind the scenes, and one person who's been intimately involved in all 4 of these lunches over the last 4 years, handling much of the event planning. That person is Jenny Tullefson. Jenny, can you wave if you're somewhere in the room? Jenny is now part of our national team at GenesisWorks, serving as the Senior Director of Marketing and Communications, but fortunately, Jenny loves this event, so she helps us out on the side. Jenny, we appreciate everything you do. Another clue to our success, I think, is due to our incredibly supportive supervisors, the workplace supervisors who work with our students day in and day out, becoming their mentors and their coaches and providing really valuable work assignments and experiences for our students. Many of our workplace supervisors are here today, and they play a big role in our success and in the transformation of the students we serve. Let's watch a quick video and take a look at how the workplace supervisors make a difference.
Breaking through means accomplishing my goals and beating them by a lot more than I expected to beat them by.
Accomplishing a good work, so to be something different and to be someone who's bold and someone who's courageous.
Just getting out of your comfort zone, and once you're out of your comfort zone, you could do like many things that you didn't think you could possibly do.
Just taking the initiative to really take action to go through with it.
Learning things that you didn't before or have never experienced.
Being able to be comfortable in a professional environment.
To step out of my comfort zone and being able to communicate with others.
Code switching and actually opening up to people.
Someone is actually mentoring you to something and he's breaking through you.
My supervisor helped me break through by challenging me.
She really helped us by giving us a really independent environment where we make most of our choices.
He will start out with steps and add a little joke to it so to make you smile. And he just makes it something really simple that you can do it.
My supervisor has helped me break through in our meetings every other week, where he coaches me on different stuff I need to work on with my technical skills.
They've taught us pretty much everything we know. They've been very supportive.
Just the first week, he took me to meetings, helped me introduce myself to others.
They help me be comfortable around them, because that's not usual when it's usually only 2 females there and a whole lot of males.
Every day, he had no vibe, happy face.
Every single day, Paul comes in and he asks us how we're doing and stuff. It's really nice.
It's really helpful. It really helps me start my day.
I really appreciate how he keeps everything lighthearted and how I can connect to him personally.
You have to go through meeting after meeting after meeting, but when he's standing in front of me and everything, his whole attitude is changed, and he's a really cool guy.
If I have any questions, if it's personal or about work, I can always go to them for anything.
So I just want to say thank you, Sarah and Adam, for helping me break through.
We just want to say thank you so much for being an awesome supervisor. We know that your schedule can be pretty busy at times, but you always find the time to find us, work for us, and to set us some time to answer our questions. Thank you so much for helping me out through every single day, every struggle and challenges throughout my work. Thank you so much, Josie and Todd. I just want to say thank you to Dave Miller and Alan Olson.
Thank you, Justin.
We're really thankful to be able to work with you and your team and to be able to work in a professional setting.
Thanks, Greg and Paul.
Thank you, Ron.
And thank you, Otis and Mark.
Thank you, Chad. I appreciate it for all the things that you've done for me, and it's remarkable.
As in turn, we hope that we were able to contribute to your team and to be able to be of help of any kind, and we just want to thank you for everything that you've done for us.
Let's hear it for those supervisors. And finally, I think another clue or factor in our Cool Kids Club success is due to our incredibly engaged board of directors. You can see the names of our board of directors on the screen now, and you're going to see actually a number of our board members on stage today. I'm going to ask one of our board members, Nick Hernandez, to start making his way to the stage. Nick actually works tirelessly for Genesis Works. He recruited probably many of you, vendors and corporate partners, to attend this event today. He secures internship positions for us throughout the year, but actually this part is not about Nick. Nick is actually here to recognize one of our most important leaders in the vendor community and one of my favorite people, the guy who dreamed up something called the Hatfield and McCoy's networking events and the annual fundraiser for Genesis Works. Let's welcome Nick Hernandez to the stage.
Thank you, Karen. As co-founder of Arete and a board member for the last 7 years, Genesis Works, I got a chance to experience a lot of awesome growth with this business model. I get a chance to see the great team of Genesis Works combined with the CIO community and the senior leadership community come together and produce outstanding results. So when I joined, there were 16 sponsoring companies and corporations. There are now over 50, and that's due in large part to the combination of the vendor community and the CIO community and the great Genesis Works staff coming together to orchestrate a program. Now, there is a term known in military and also in business called force multiplier. And what that is when you add a small ingredient to a model, you get tremendous operating leverage. So the force multiplier I get to recognize today is none other than Mr. Craig Pratt, who's Vice President of ServiceNow Product Group, and behind the scenes has done some pretty amazing things. So I get to expound on that here. So there's half the tables that were sold to the CIO and senior leadership community, and half were sold to the vendor community. There's three reasons for that, and this is who Craig Pratt is. So who he is the brand we talk about as board of directors when he's not in the room. Number one, incredibly competitive. He wants to win. He wants to be number one, and so do we as Genesis Works. So we are the number one site, large part because of Craig's efforts. Secondly, Craig's got an incredible ability to connect the vendor community with the CIO community. He is the glue. He has welded us together. And thirdly, Craig's an incredibly compassionate guy. So what you may see as a very competitive, at one time VP of sales, calling everybody for their numbers on Monday morning to make sure they closed the deal, he turns around at night and creates an entity called Hatfields and McCoys that meets once a year, this secret society of vendors. We gather once a year at Brunswick Bowl, and it's an even representation of the vendor community. We take off our competitive jerseys, and we raise money for Genesis Works. So Craig started this 7 years ago in concept, but then there was the force multiplier that came in that involves the CIO community, which Craig had this idea of doing a CIO, or a senior IT leadership auction. So the highest bidding vendor steps up the lists of CIOs and senior leaders. Whoever bids the highest gets the favor of that person for lunch. Last year alone, that drove about $65,000 to Genesis Works within 1 hour of the bidding. So. Now, the amazing thing is, again, Craig just happens to be on the same tenure I have as far as board of directors. He's also an April 1st birthday baby like I am, so a couple fools will be up here on stage, as is Jeff Tollefson, so we're the unholy trinity. The other thing is, over 7 years, through the Hatfields and McCoys effort and through all the generous senior leaders here who have offered their name for lunch, as well as other fundraising efforts, Craig and Hatfields and McCoys has raised over $400,000 for Genesis Works. Now that's worth a roar of applause. Craig created a hashtag in an organization called Next Level Living. So you should follow it on Twitter. The mission of Next Level Living is be a better version of yourself every day and make a difference in the lives of others. Clearly, he's done that. Clearly, he knows how to do it. And it is my great pleasure to welcome another fool up to the stage who has done incredible work for Genesis Works. And I want the CIO leadership community, but especially the vendor community, to give him a roaring applause to lift him up here on stage. Craig Pratt, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. First and foremost, I don't do well in these situations. So, it's a privilege. It's an honor. The CIOs should make it really easy. And the vendor community, you guys are awesome. So, thank you.
After 7 years, Craig is passing the torch of the Hatfields and McCoys to Mr. Tom Henderson of AppDynamics. And Craig has already assigned Tom a $100,000 quota for this year for fundraising. Tom will do it. He's a champion too. Thank you very much, and Craig, thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you, Craig. Next, we are going to hear from one of our two presenting sponsors. We're actually going to hear from Accenture first. Representing Accenture today is another of our board members, Michael Jones. So Michael, please make your way to the stage. Let's welcome Michael Jones from Accenture.
Well, hello and good afternoon, everyone. What a fantastic event, and let me, on behalf of the other board members, first of all, thank you all for your tremendous support in coming out not only today, but constantly throughout the year to support this fantastic organization. As Karen mentioned, my name is Michael Jones. I work for Accenture. But more importantly, I am so proud to be a board member of Genesis Works, and I've been a board member for close to 10 years with this organization, and there's no better cause that I can think of over that time frame that I've done over those years. Accenture and Genesis Works have a special relationship. Genesis Works is a strategic partner for us, and over the 7-year relationship that we've had with them, we've endeavored to extend their reach out into the community and work with the workforce of the future to engage them in the things that are happening real time. This partnership in Accenture is extremely important, and such as it's been called the Skills to Succeed initiative, in which we're looking at equipping over 3 million people with the talents so that they can go out, get jobs, and even start businesses by 2020. Thank you. In Minneapolis alone, we've had the opportunity to have over 50 interns, and you see some pictures of some of the alums that we recently invited back to a fantastic day of celebration and also knowledge and sharing, in that we brought them in to talk to them and educate them around what we see are some wonderful vision points that we have, but more importantly, what are some of those tech trends that are going to drive some of the very opportunities that they will need and want in the next 3 to 5 years. First of all, we talked about customer experience and how simple and smart interactions will have value at every connection point, and how artificial intelligence is really becoming the new user experience for the brand of today. We also talked about how companies are competing right now and how that's going to change, whereby you're seeing companies that used to be competitors actually now work together in collaboration to form these brand new ecosystems. Workforce marketplace, another important concept whereby we see this surge in on-demand labor platforms and online management solutions, and how they're driving profound economic transformations that we believe will rival that of the Industrial Revolution. We also talked, now this is an interesting slide designed by for humans. Accenture has not expanded out into other planets right now, but I think the whole point about this slide is we're simply understanding and looking at how to prepare this next generation to learn and see how technology is being adapted to how humans, we all use it each and every day. And then lastly, we talked about how important it is for organizations to set the new tone, to establish rules and standards whereby they can work in entirely new industries given the proliferation of technology. We ended this fantastic day with a round robin, and as you can imagine, these ambitious young students all then wanted to know, then how can we come and work for you, and what are the types of things that we need to do to get there? It just goes to show you that these are incredibly passionate, driven, ambitious young people that need a chance and need the opportunity that many of you provide them. So like many of you in this room, we understand that there's untapped talent and energy in the Twin Cities. And I want to thank you all on behalf of the board for all of your tremendous contributions, for giving these guys the efforts and the opportunities to position them to do the things that they do right now and for making their path from high school to these potential careers that they're seeking, not a dream, but a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for those remarks, Michael, and for Accenture's sponsorship today. Now, some real fun. We're going to do some corporate partner recognition. So to do that, I'd like to welcome my incredible colleague, our Director of Corporate Partnerships, Joel Crandall.
I endeavor to be the most popular speaker on days like this by having the staff serve lunch. So if you've already gotten your food, feel free to dig in, and I'm just going to do what I like to do best, which is recognize our corporate partners here in the Twin Cities. Karen mentioned earlier, we have over 55 corporate partners that are currently working with students here in the Twin Cities, an amazing network of lots of different people. Genesis Works is a dream. In concept, we know that we have technology needs that are unmet right now in our companies. We also know that we have tech talent here in the Twin Cities that's untapped. But Genesis Works is also a lot of work because it's great for CIOs to buy in and say, yep, we're in, we're gonna do this. But it's a lot of sponsors at companies and line level supervisors that do the work every day. Genesis Works is a commitment. Students spend over 140 hours prepping for their internship before they ever receive a paycheck from us. It's a big commitment to give up the summer between your junior and senior year to be able to make that dream happen. It's a commitment for our staff. Our staff spends thousands of hours and hundreds of thousands of dollars recruiting students, prepping students, and getting them ready for a job before we ever receive a paycheck from our corporate partners. But it's also an investment from our partners who are looking to be able to feed the front end of this tech pipeline to be able to make sure that there is talent that's ready to go when they need it in the next few years. So today I get to recognize a couple of our partners who have really put their wallets and their time managing where their mouth is to be able to make Genesis Works happen here in the Twin Cities. And the first group that I'd like to recognize are our silver partners. So our silver partners have had somewhere between 25 and 50 interns that they've sponsored during the life of Genesis Works. It's some pretty elite company, a good group of people, and we have a number of new partners that are joining this group this year. So if you could hold your applause into the end, but our partners that are new to this club this year, Ameriprise under the direction of Randy Cooper, Bremer Financial with Tom Grayheck, the CIO, Thomson Reuters with the twin forces of Bruce Gorder and Rick King, and Travelers with the sponsorship of Mark Mitchell. These companies join Capella, Cargill, Ecolab, Land O'Lakes, Medica, and Optum. If you're a member of one of those silver partners, if you're here representing that company today, any of the ones that are up here on the slide, can you stand up so we can recognize you for your outstanding work? Fantastic. I've got your awards here on stage, and I'll get them to you after we're done today. The next award that we're giving out is our Gold Sponsorship Award. I'm really excited that we have new partners in each of these categories this year. It just means that people continue to commit and to grow here in the Twin Cities. So joining our gold partners this year, you've already heard from Accenture, but they're joining, like Michael said, this club of 50 or more interns here in the Twin Cities. But also Blue Cross Blue Shield is joining for the first time. Carrie Smith is our executive sponsor there, and Craig Nelson is our sponsor. They do such fantastic work. These companies are joining Deluxe and 3M. And if you're here today representing one of those four companies, will you stand for a minute so we can recognize you and the amazing work that you've done here in the Twin Cities? Nick, when he was up here, mentioned this word competitive. I think it's a Minnesota thing, but our staff likes to say, we're not competitive. Which is not true at all. We're cutthroat. We really want to win. We want to be the best. And we are so glad that we have two corporate partners that have fought tooth and nail, especially for the last couple years, to be the biggest and the best here in the Twin Cities. On a side note, I'd really like somebody to knock them off. So if somebody out there is ready to do that, let's talk afterwards. But we're really excited to join our platinum partners this year, Target Corporation. Target, under the leadership of Mike McNamara, with the sponsorship of Dan Hernandez and so many other people who are sitting up here, have really helped to be able to quickly grow Target's presence to have over 100 interns in the last 7 years here in the Twin Cities. Target is joining Medtronic as our only ever platinum partners. And if you're here representing one of those two companies, yes, you have to stand at the same time. But if you could stand and we could recognize you, that would be great. Optum, I'm looking at you. One other thing that I'd like to recognize, Draft Day, which is our event where we place students into their internships every year, is my favorite day of GenesisWorks. No offense to the CIO lunch, you guys are good company, but when we place students into their jobs and they find out for the first time in a draft-like format where they're going to be working for the next year, no comparison. They're there with their parents, with their families, people from all of our partners. They show up on stage. They get to hold swag and post in front of. It's amazing. So I love that event. We're just about 100 days out from being able to do Draft Day this year, which I'm really excited about. But in order to be able to do Draft Day, we need partners. We have a few new partners that we'd like to recognize this year. They're going to be up here on the screen. 4 new partners that made the slide. Anderson Windows, Boston Scientific, Room and Board, Science Museum, and one that's so new they didn't even make the slide, which is Vertiva, under the direction of Tom Kiefer. If you're here representing one of those organizations who's a corporate partner for the very first time this year, will you please stand so we can recognize you and thank you for joining our team. Fantastic. We're so glad to have you be a part of the Cool Kids Club, like Karen said. This is the total list of everybody who is currently set up to draft this year. So if you don't see your logo up there, I might be able to help you. So find me, find one of our staff members afterwards today. We'd be happy to talk to you about what it means to have a GenesisWorks intern at your company. But to all of you who have already made a commitment for this year, we're so grateful. If you would join me in giving a round of applause to all of our corporate partners who are taking students for next year, please give them a round of applause. I also get to do a couple introductions. The first introduction that I'd like to do today is for our second event sponsor. We're so grateful to have Mike Matthews as a member of our board, but also as the CIO at Deluxe. He's helping to sponsor the event today. So if you could join me in a round of applause and welcome Mike Matthews to the stage.
Good afternoon. I'm going to keep my comments extraordinarily short. I really have 2 messages for you and for all of you, my peers as CIOs and for all our technology partners here in the Twin Cities. The first is thank you. These events are incredible, and it is amazing the amount of money that we generate to support these students and this program. It's really, really important. I had the luxury yesterday to sit through a series of presentations that our students did, and I remember meeting many of them very early on in their process. And most of them couldn't engage, couldn't ask questions, couldn't stand in front of a group. And yesterday, it nearly brought tears to our team's eyes as these 8 students stood in front of us, most of them with multiple college offers. Some want to be a pilot, some want to be forensic scientists, some want to be doctors. And these students have realized that the world is theirs for the taking. They just needed some support, and we gave them that support, so thank you. But like last year, you probably know this is coming, right? Start and open up your wallets, guys. Find spaces in your companies for these internships. Find resources that you can give to the program. We need it, we'll take it, we'll leverage it. And if you paid attention to Karen's opening remarks, when you invest $1, we get 13x in terms of value created. So think about that. I know dollars are tight, they are tight everywhere, and I can't believe this, we're already in April heading into May. We're gonna be starting our budgeting season here in the next couple of weeks for 2018. It's just unbelievable to think how fast time is going. But as you go through that process with your companies and your teams, please find a way to create more internships. Please find a way to give just a little bit more. Your impact is huge, and these students and I and the board greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Thanks so much to Mike and Deluxe for helping to sponsor today. So this introduction is really about what GenesisWorks does here in the Twin Cities. Today we have an amazing chance to hear from one of our current interns, and he'll tell you more about himself, but I'm so pleased, and I hope that you'll give a really warm welcome to Simeon Amos, who's coming to speak for our GenesisWorks interns today. Welcome, Simeon.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Simeon Amos. I'm currently a senior at Burnsville High School, and I'm a GenesisWorks intern at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota. I'm here today to talk about my secrets. Just a few months ago, I would not have told these secrets to some of my closest friends. My life began in a small city called Newmarket, Minnesota, and I went to school there until I was 10 years old. The school and the community was mostly consistent of Caucasians, and as an Indian American, I was often afraid to show my friends my culture and what shaped me to be who I am. At home, I am very outgoing, optimistic, and funny. But because I did not want to be different, at school, I was serious, shy, and nervous. This made me feel like I had led a secret life. Around this time, my parents also got divorced, which caused a lot of changes and challenges in my life. During my parents' divorce, I was very stressed out, and I lost a lot of interest in things. This was another secret I wanted to keep to myself. I went through a period of time where I would just lock myself in my bedroom. One day, my PlayStation stopped working, so I tried to fix it by taking it apart. After working on it for several hours, it was, however, still broken, unfortunately. So apparently, curiosity alone isn't enough to fix electronics. But something good did come out of this. I was amazed by the inside parts of my PlayStation. Amazed. This is what I would call the beginning of my love for technology. During my parents' divorce, we had to move to Burnsville, and so I began attending Burnsville High School. At Burnsville, I became friends with some other students who also shared a love for technology. But up until I joined GenesisWorks, my friends didn't know about my secret life. I wondered, did my friends see me as the funny and outgoing person my family knows me to be? During my junior year, I heard about GenesisWorks at my school, and I was immediately interested. GenesisWorks has taught me to be proud of who I am, and has helped me reveal my secret life to others. This started to happen during summer training when we had a sharing circle about the stressful moment in our lives. In this circle, I learned about my peers' lives and their most kept secrets. And even though I'd only known them for a few weeks, we were being honest and real with each other. Really honest and really real. But in this sharing circle, when I heard another GenesisWorks student and a close friend of mine, who I actually knew in elementary school, share his story about being bullied in middle school, something he has never shared with me or anyone else before, that actually gave me the courage to open up for the first time about my parents' divorce and what a difficult time it was for me. And it was okay. I was okay. GenesisWorks showed me that people really do care. Ever since that day at the sharing circle, I've had a different perspective about people. Now, I try to see people beyond how they present themselves, because I know everyone might be living a secret life. Some parts they are not ready to share with others. Summer training was an eye-opening experience in other ways too. The business technology class with my technical trainer, Joan Bernard, really locked in my decision to major in computer science in college starting this fall. Joan helped me feel confident with my technology knowledge and skills. And maybe because I was gaining confidence, or maybe because Joan saw something in me that I could do more. She encouraged me to help my friends when they struggled with their technology assignments. And summer training prepared me for my internship at Blue Cross Blue Shield. I currently work on their desktop support team, and I spend most of my time imaging desktops and laptops. It's a great job. It's been 9 months since I started working there, and I'm still learning new things every day. My coworkers treat me like family, and I've never felt so welcomed by a group of individuals. They have become my extended sharing circle. My time at Blue Cross Blue Shield has prepared me for a real work experience by showing me the true side of the business world. Thank you to the Blue Cross team for making this such a great experience for me. For all of you here today who gave up time for your job to celebrate our impact and to show your support for this amazing program, I want you to feel confident, absolutely confident, that your support for this program is making a difference. In fact, without support from people like you, I would probably still be that shy kid at Burnsville High School, not knowing that I could have a really bright future in technology. Speaking of being confident, being in GenesisWorks has given me confidence in myself. Confidence that I didn't have a year ago. Confidence that I got a very bright future ahead of me, if I want it. And I do, because I want to figure out how to fix my PlayStation. Your support matters. Your investments of time and money are changing lives, like mine. As I look towards my future, I plan on attending Augsburg College in the fall, and must work hard to become a software developer. The experiences and opportunities I've had in GenesisWorks brought me to this stage today, telling you all of my secrets. Overcoming my challenges with openness and honesty makes me feel ready and confident to take on whatever the world throws at me. Thank you.
Wow, Simeon. Rule number 1 of public speaking, don't follow that. No, that was truly amazing. Thank you for sharing that story with us, the story of your life. That is a very powerful message for us. And I think it was a powerful message for all of us. I'd also like to thank all of you, because without the opportunities that you create, whether you're an executive sponsor, a CIO, a supervisor of the interns, you've created opportunities for stories like that. And I think it's powerful, and I think it's impactful in our lives, in our society. Well, my name is Stuart McCutcheon. I'm the CIO of Ecolab, and I also have recently joined the GenesisWorks board. One of the reasons I joined were just for stories like that. Year after year, I had the opportunity to hear of the stories that this organization, of Karen and her staff, and the transformation that they're making in young people's lives. And I got to tell you, looking in front of this esteemed crowd of leadership, technology leadership across the Twin Cities, whether you're a technology provider, a technology consumer, I just want you to think back to your senior year in high school. Could you have done that? Could you have stood in front of this crowd and made that? I'm certain that I could not have. I did not have that level of maturity and that level of courage and that level of confidence. So, Simeon, congratulations for all the hard work that you've done, and congratulations to each of you for you creating that opportunity. Now at Ecolab, we've been involved with Genesis Works, just like many of you, for a long time now. In fact, since its initial class of interns, we were involved 10 years ago, from less than 10 to now starting to approach nearly 300 interns in the Twin Cities. What amazing leadership, what amazing growth, what amazing transformation opportunity. So I encourage each of you to look for those opportunities to offer more internships, to extend your opportunities to some of the emerging, because I think it's a win-win. I think we emphasize a lot of the opportunity that it creates, but I think we all know, especially in the technology space, we're in a technology war. There's just so much demand now for digital competency in our companies. You know, I see this as a way to start the recruiting process. In fact, we've had examples where interns have gone on to get their college degrees and come back to work for us and have been great contributors to our company. So those opportunities and those seeds that we plant early on ultimately certainly benefit us as well. Now, there are other ways that you can participate. And I would encourage each of you to look. There's a folder on each of your tables, and they have a card like this. And I'm going to encourage you to think through how you can personally become a financial sponsor of this great organization. Now, as I think about where I spend my efforts, where I spend my contributions of my life, I really look for three things. First, I look for where do I feel personally called to be part of? And I think by the fact that each of you are investing your time and your limited time, we're all very busy, in being here today and working with Genesis Works to create these opportunities to supervise, if you're in that capacity, these interns as they work their way into the workforce. I think that says that maybe you too feel some calling to be part of this organization. Then the second thing that I look for is whether it has an impact. And so the most impactful thing to me are really twofold. One is the stories that we hear of the transformed lives. And secondly, if you heard, a couple of the presenters mentioned this 13X factor. Let me translate what that means. That means for every dollar that goes into Genesis Works, there are $13 of societal benefits that yield from that. And that has been done from Columbia University doing assessments of various not-for-profit organizations. This one is generating 13 times the benefit. Typically, it's more like 4 or 5 times in most organizations. So that speaks really to also the third thing that I look for, and that is how well is the organization run? Is my commitment of time and money and effort going to really yield because that organization? And I think you saw with Karen and Joel, and really I invite you to meet more members of the staff. This is an amazing organization. I'm proud to be part of it as a board member. I'm learning a lot, and I'm proud to be involved in hearing more and more stories like Simeon. So I'm going to ask each of you to consider financially being part of this organization as well. There's many ways that you can do that, and this card's in front of you. I invite you to pull them out now. They're in a folder on your tables. Invite you in many ways, including financial, but other ways as well. But you can write a check, you can make a pledge, and the staff will follow up with you afterwards. You can give them credit card information, and they can do that as well. One of the ways that you can contribute as well is electronically. You know, I heard today that we've gone from sort of being the geek squad to now we're like the cool kids. We're the cool group now. So, you know, everything's digital. In fact, that's how I'm pledging, just like all the other board members have done. I'm going to pledge today as well. And one of the ways that you can do that is you can send a text to 41444. You can see it up on the screen there. Text the word CIO Luncheon, one word, to 41444 and make your contribution that way. It'll pull you up a form that will allow you to fill that out. So I would encourage each of you, whether your gift is small or large, be part of this ministry. Each of us can give something. Wouldn't it be amazing? Forget about the dollar amounts right now. Wouldn't it be amazing if we figuratively held hands right now and said, yeah, we're going to be part of this, even if it's a small donation? Wouldn't it be amazing if everybody in the room was a part of it financially as well? So I'm going to pause at this point. I'm going to make my personal pledge. We're going to cue up some music, and I'm going to give you a few minutes as well to consider that. Look at the information there and consider what you might do to help this internship program through Genesis Works to be even more powerful than it is today. If I may have your attention just one more time, I'd like to thank everybody for coming today. This will conclude our formal program. I encourage you to stick around, use this as a great networking event, have dessert and coffee afterwards, and our staff will be around collecting the pledge cards at the end of the program. Thank you all for coming today. Have a great afternoon.